Thank you, Cora, for speaking with me today.
Thank you.
I'm so excited about your film. So my first question for you is, how did you get to be a part of it?
I auditioned, like all the actors, I auditioned for it. And honestly, this was a really beautiful surprise. When I even got the call back, it was a beautiful surprise. And to
Mhm.
go to the film was like, what? Um, for real, because it's like, it's hard out here. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
So to get a booking and it to be for the booking to be so this project to be so like true to my heart and spirit feels like I'm a blessing, divine blessing.
hmm Did you read the book at all before starting, or was it something you kind of stuck away from?
No, we I didn't read the book when we started because Richard was adapting the screenplay. He was adapting
hmm
the screenplay from the book, and then we started to expand in that sort of the imaging and the way that the world looked.
hmm
Um, and specific to these characters, Richard really gave over a lot of creative space over to the actors
hmm
to build their characters, which I felt like was also a divine blessing because I come from the theater and I'm building for a very long time before
hmm
an audience gets to see anything. I'm constantly adding nuance and all kinds of things, constantly dissecting and peeling the onion
hmm
before. So this process was sort of like you get this character and you say yes to everything that you feel, but I know that I was committed to building law as an unapologetically Black, queer, creative, revolutionary, radical spirit,
Yes.
you know so
Yes.
yeah.
She came off great. You know, your performance as her, your Law and Cora's relationship was my actually favorite part of it because just watching the two of them, like it was perfect display of high school romance, but also you could tell like just they both deeply cared about each other, which is something that's not often explored as secondary characters in like rom com, especially high school rom com. So kudos to you guys because that literally at the end of it, I was like, that's the best part. That was literally the best part.
Uh, you actually look, I'm actually tearing. Um, I'm actually tearing because it's sort of like that's the hope, right?
Mhm,
That's the hope that just being present with this other brown woman is
mhm,
the hope of like people leaning into our love for one
mhm.
another. And the truth of the matter is that we are actually quite obsessed with each other, which is very funny.
Well, that came out perfect, and I think one of the other things I loved is it didn't matter what color either of you were because the love between the two of you was just so great and so exciting that I was literally rooting, just saying, "Come on, make it happen! Like, let's stop playing." And there it was. So, as I said, kudos to you guys because that was really great, great display, and just it was something I rooted for throughout the entire thing. So, thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate
But as you just said, you got to kind of create this character and expand on it. Was there something about her when you guys first put her on paper that as you shot the film, you're like, I need to play on this more?
yeah, that absolutely happened. So because Richard was so great in creating a safe space, safe environment for us to feel like collaborators and artists on this project, he gave over a lot of freedom to the actors and being like, you can, if you don't feel right, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it was really important for La to express herself and the way that she felt about Cora, excuse me, in the movie. I thought that it was really mostly incredibly important for a young Black queer woman to express herself with potency and truth, period.
Mm-hmm.
And to actually have that catharsis, for us to see her go through it, to feel it, to say it, to give words to it, to express it, was very important to me
Mm-hmm.
within this particular relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard from one of the other interviewers that they were just sort of like, it's sort of it feels like all it feels like any relationship, how deep it is. And, you know, what you said was interesting because it's true that these characters can be themselves. And there's no conflict from the world saying that they can't. Which is a part of a very other kind of older narrative. And right now we're sort of normalizing, I believe Chemical Hearts is normalizing this kind of love. To see it and to see it younger, so that younger people can feel like they can be themselves and authentic themselves, you know?
Well, and be able to express themselves too, no matter what. And I think one of the also interesting things about this movie that I didn't know, you don't even think about, is how the brain reacts and the body reacts to love and breakup, and your nonverbals showing the love between and the attraction to Cora was just great. Like the awkwardness in the beginning, it's just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then you're pulling back. I thought that did so much for your character. So was that something planned, or is it just not, I'm just winging it?
I feel like that is yes, and also a part of how the process went. Like sometimes you're acting and sometimes you're so in it that you don't even sort of understand like how you're moving and how you're responding to the thing. You know what I'm saying? And so as a person who comes from the theater, I'm a very physical actor. And I feel like that was a part of filming, was like how, and not really the how, but like just the experience of having an experience within the body and allowing the body to be connected to what you're doing is something, I guess, that you saw, like the pushback and the like, oh, I'm going to do this. No, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. You know? And that's like a real thing about how we approach love, right? How we approach people that we even like, people that we want to talk to, people that not maybe a love relationship or thought, but just wanting to speak to someone, wanting to walk up to that person and introduce yourself. Like that's all there too, you know?
Well, what was it like working with the cast? Because you got some great people starring alongside of you. So what was that like?
Amazing. Every single person in this cast that I had the honor of spending time with, we all were so warm to each other and so lovely to each other. But I think that always starts with leadership. And I think that Richard, as a director, writer, adapter of Chemical Hearts from Crystal Sutherland, like, I think Richard really set the tone for how we were to treat each other, you know? So usually when, you know, things sort of are like this, it's kind of all the way back to leadership. And I think that his leadership was excellent. Excellent.
Well, as my last question for you, what do you hope fans get from watching this movie?
I mean, my hope and my desires are for young Black queer people to feel absolutely free in the world and to feel like they can be themselves and to give themselves the permission to love themselves. Radical self-love, radical self-care is a revolutionary act. And also that you will get through it, whatever it is, you will be more powerful on the other side. You will be more powerful, more profound, with more experience to move through this world. And also the deepest relationship that you're ever gonna have is with yourself, and work on that. And if working on that means seeking help, do that. If you need to talk to someone because you don't feel at a good state of mind, reach out to someone, talk to someone, you know, even if it's talking to someone that is not in your immediate family, sometimes that's helpful. You know, talking to someone you don't know is helpful. And just honestly, like, I want everybody to take away that from the film, but I also want, with a special attention being paid to our brown and Black people that are in this nation right now and are suffering from the fact that this nation is suffering from unrest at this very moment. That the tragedies that have happened are affecting us in deeper ways than we can only imagine, but we are going to be more powerful on the other side. So just stick to it, know that it will move through you, and seek help if you need it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Megan. It's so lovely speaking with you.